is not an area of my expertise around social security. I think there are some obvious questions to be asked around new Clause 4, new Section 310B, and this period of 52 weeks. So it's specified that the review has to be carried out within 52 weeks. What I'm finding interesting is what flexibility is available. There doesn't seem to be any available given that 52-week deadline, but what flexibility is available around holiday periods? Now, and the obvious one for us is the Christmas New Year shutdown. New Zealand goes on holiday over Christmas New Year, and we all just, those of us who can, go to the beach. Even if not going to the beach, it is the Christmas break. There are a number of public holidays in that time. That's typically the time when families are taking time off as well. It is the annual celebration. Now, if I can just liken it to some stuff that comes through from the tax law, that at that stage, tax returns are typically due by the 7th of the month, but in January, the date is extended out to the 15th of the month. Just because of, I'd have to go and look that up exactly, but I'm sure the Minister gets the principle there, that there is extra time allowed over holiday periods in order to just give people a little bit more time to comply with their obligations, simply because of the way that holidays concatenate and build up, and it's not just the public holidays that are available at that time, it's also our social practices. That Christmas, New Year is a time that people actually turn their mind to other obligations. Now, it's not just the people who are receiving benefits, of course, who go on leave, or who are, sorry, they're not on leave, they're taking a break at that time of the year, but it's actually the people working in MSD. So there's typically fewer staff available. I just want to know, is there a possibility to have some flexibility built in around, in particular, that Christmas New Year period, or is that 52 weeks an absolutely hard deadline? Is there some capacity within MSD to have policy that would enable there to be a little bit more time available over the Christmas New Year period? I can't think of other particular holiday periods during the year, possibly around Easter, but of course Easter is a movable feast, and other public holidays don't tend to build up in quite the same way that the Christmas New Year holidays do, when there are 4 public holidays within a very short space of time. So if the Minister could just give some assurance around flexibility, if there is any, or what might be done with internal MSD policy, even if it's not quite exactly specified that way in the law, that would be very helpful.
Honourable Louise Upston.
Mr Chair, I do want to just remind the House that this was related to legislation that we passed earlier and is accounted for in savings in Budget 24. As I mentioned yesterday, some of the forecasts of the saving are difficult to estimate, and particularly in this one, because what we do recognise is actually the prevention of people going into debt. How do you actually assess that? And I think that's a really important one. In terms of information that will be coming out, as it usually does under normal release processes, I want to just come back to a comment, though, that Helen White raised about redactions. It is standard practice that when there is any legal advice that is provided is redacted, and that is the same. A former member asked about staff time, and I had said earlier, so I'll repeat for his information, although I don't like repeating, ADM actually frees up staff time to have those important conversations with clients.
I mean, I remember having to go through nearly the whole month of December. It was the beginning of December. I went and applied for the unemployment benefit because my hours, I couldn't live. And by the time my benefit was granted, it was the 5th of January. And I had to go through, like, there were so many things. Like, I couldn't get granted the benefit before Christmas because I had to do pre-benefit tasks. That took me a week before I could get the first seminar to start the pre-benefit task. The pre-benefit task finished on the working day before Christmas. And I had to wait to do the pre-benefit task before I could even book that appointment to sit and do it. And I had to have it for the 5th of January. It didn't also help when the case manager sat down there and changed my start benefit date to the 19th of December when it should have been something like the 6th of December. You know, because apparently it didn't comply with the law. So she changed it to comply with the law. But the fact was I couldn't get it done in time. And it's like, how do you sit down there and get a system in place? Like, yes, the tax law has it. I can confirm that. My GST return for October, November is due on the 15th of January, along with the payment. But the previous return and the return after are due on the 28th of November and the 28th of February.
I mean, what Louise is doing here in her inability to answer these questions highlights a few issues with the government as it currently stands. We don't have enough ministers, for starters, so she's probably overstretched to hell.
Probably too many portfolios.
Too many portfolios, yep. She can't answer the questions. And, you know, the people that are writing the regulatory impact statements are not given enough time to do data collecting. You know, she's like, oh, I can't estimate it. Well, that's because you haven't done the work. That's why you can't provide.
I mean, the bill shouldn't be under urgency. It should be going through select committee.
That's why it shouldn't have gone under urgency. So, no, we've got to do it now. We've got to get as many savings as we can for the landlords and the corporations. What are we doing here? What is this? This is shit. And you're shitting on beneficiaries who don't even have the ability to represent themselves because you denied them a select committee.
And I mean, I also don't believe the complaints. Like, they're talking about how that MSD has like a really high satisfaction rate. I don't believe they're dealing with the complaints properly at all. Because if we look on Let's Talk Working Income, we look on Working Income Advocates, both of those groups have daily concerns, many of them contradictory to law.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I think that another thing this highlights is that Luxon is a terrible prime minister as well. Yeah. How many fucking portfolios does everyone have? You know.
Well, it has been said that this is the government that has the most. It's the most portfolios ever. It's something like over 70.
It's like, oh, we need 4 years.
But I mean, how many associate ministers of justice are there? I mean, ACT has 2 for a start.
Mm-hmm. That's how big all of this is. And it's like, yeah, we want 4 more years to get through it all. No, get more damn ministers for starters. How about that? Make Parliament bigger.
Yeah.
Too much work.
Right. Yes, you can comment on YouTube, but we've not hit any words.
He's restarting, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just, you know, it's like you've got the ACT Party saying, no, we need a smaller government. Well, here's a great case example of why you need more ministers.
Why you need more MPs. You need...
Yeah. Too small, you can't get shit done.
Yeah, you got ministers. I've already answered that question. No, you haven't.
Like, I'm a libertarian. I'm saying get more fucking MPs.
Yeah.